We have one final guest coming up before we take a short break and kick it over to our final Tap Talk of the day. But right now we have Ryan O'Connor coming up. Come on up, Ryan. Ryan is from Cask Global Canning Solutions, one of our fine sponsors here of the live stream. Thank you so much for helping us make this possible.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Or at this point, you know, now that I've only got like an hour left, I'm like really thanking you because I'm like, all right, this has been a long couple of days.
You guys have been doing a good job.
But it's been fun. We've had some great guests on here. Talk to me about Cask and some of the clients that you're working with, and you know, what's been happening for you guys this year.
Oh, it's been a big year for us. You know, we've grown quite a bit. We've doubled in size, basically, you know. Added a lot of people, and that's due to the demand in cans. And it's from small breweries, big breweries. We work with them all, like, so it's been an exciting year. Yeah.
Yeah, any clients that we would recognize?
Alchemist,
oh, okay.
for example, yeah. They bought a system last year.
That's a decent one to have.
It's not a bad one. Yeah.
Do you have a direct pipeline to Heady Topper?
You know, we've actually asked them to send over yeast samples to us before, so he's.
I like it.
So and we've gotten them, and you know, he puts them in a cooler for us, sends them to us, and it's a big hit always. Heady Toppers. Yeah.
Now, most of your clients are on the sort of small to medium size, though, right? Like
I would say so.
Kind of on that micro canning side of the business.
Absolutely, yeah, and I think that's really good for us because as we see this grow a lot, I mean, you know, we're kind of about sustainability. And I think that's one of the more sustainable models right now. Like a lot of the big guys, I feel like they're kind of entrenched, and it's getting harder and harder to get shelf space for stuff. But I think that size model is still pretty sustainable, just because they can actually you know, distribute locally, distribute a little bit more. So I mean, we've had a ton of growth in that area.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned it. Cans have really exploded over the last few years. What do you think has contributed to just the growth of cans in general? I mean, there's obviously the environmental component, which we hear a lot about, the portability. But for some reason, I just feel like people enjoy drinking beer out of a can more than they like drinking it out of a bottle now, and I just can't put my finger on why exactly.
You know, that's a good question. From my point of view, I think there's really been a shift, and I think it's the consumer shift, and they really, you know, accepted that you can have good beer in cans. I mean, over the past few years, I would say that you know, over the past 5 years, that's been changing.
Yeah.
But really, I think, you know, in the past couple years, that's really the mass market you know, the mass consumer has actually really accepted that, and I think that's probably the biggest reason why. You know, there's more and more cans, and people are accepting drinking out of cans more. Yeah.
And it had to have been a huge boon for your business, obviously.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and not just beer, right? Like, it's been kombucha, it's been cold brew coffee, you know, like, there's been a lot of other areas, water even, you know.
Now, are you starting to pick up clients in those areas as well?
Absolutely, yeah, that's, you know, besides from cider, I'd say that kombucha's been picking up a lot for us, cold brew coffee. Those have kind of been the four main ones that have been, but there's still some outliers. I mean, you start to talk about it, you know, you're getting a lot of CBD, you know, and THC type drinks, so those are starting to pick up a lot, right?
Where do you see that market headed just in general with cannabis beverages and CBD beverages?
Yeah, that's interesting. With Canada being, you know, opening up pretty soon, there's a lot of demand for it right now, and I think more, you know, edibles, that's going to be kind of, and I consider, you know, drinking part of the edibles category, and that's going to be a huge market.
Yeah, the consumables, food and beverage, that piece of it, as opposed to smokables.
Exactly.
Is certainly an area of growth. You know, I do sort of wonder about, you know, do people want to drink their CBD? Do they like to smoke? Like, do they prefer to smoke it? You have an interesting perspective, obviously being in the Canadian, being a little bit closer to the Canadian market than we are.
Yeah.
Do you see people putting those packages into cans and you guys opening that up as an opportunity of growth for Cask?
Absolutely. I would say that it's just kind of at its infancy, they're just starting up, but we really are opening that up to allow customers. And I think, honestly, it's kind of like the craft movement, like people like to buy local stuff. I think and they're continuing that, I think, through that market as well, like they're looking for kind of a local feel to it.
They want their weed to be local.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
I want to get high.
I want to high from that
on a
guy,
local supply.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Now I got to ask. Obviously, the tariffs have been a huge issue for anyone that's doing business in the steel and aluminum spaces, and you guys are, probably a little bit shielded from it, obviously, since you're not selling cans per se, but I imagine that you're getting some interesting feedback from some of your clients. How big of an impact are those tariffs having on canning breweries, particularly the smaller ones?
It's having a big impact. We do sell cans, actually. We're a distributor for Ball, so we actually sell cans as well. So I mean, coming across the border it's interesting because the aluminum, a lot of the aluminum actually comes from Canada.
Yeah,
gets processed down in the States and then has to come across the border. So a lot of the Canadian guys, they're getting hit with some, double tariffs a lot of times. So how do I see that affecting them? They're all talking about raising their prices, and it's gonna. I think really it's kind of sad because it's the consumer that's going to end up paying a little bit more for it. Yeah.
It's a tax on the consumer, basically.
Pretty much. Yeah. Politically, we'll have to see what happens. I hope that it gets dropped at some point, but we'll have to see.
Will it ever cause you guys to reconsider whether or not you want to distribute cans for Ball?
No.
Or is that a big enough piece of your business now?
It's a good piece of our business, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of advantages distributing cans. We can provide smaller minimums for these guys. So we kind of know how the whole system works. We can deal with plants a bit easier. So trying to help out the small guys, that's really what we're there for. We're trying to be, family friendly, helping small businesses grow. That's what we want to do. We want to help these small businesses grow. So that's kind of our motto, what we want to do.
Certainly. Mm-hmm. Now you get an early look at trends, I would imagine, because you're in constant communication with these guys. What are one or two trends that we should be paying attention to over the next few months?
Oh, it's a good question. There's a lot of trends. I mean, you guys have seen a lot of 19.2 cans coming out. That's kind of, a lot of guys are looking at that. Different package sizes. Besides from that, though, there hasn't been too many other things that I can think of, really.
Yeah, it's really been the 19.2s and the 15 packs. We actually heard the other day from Founders that they're going to get into, I think, suitcases for their solid gold beer in cans. So maybe some more, craft 24 and 30 packs potentially.
Yeah.
At least for Founders. How about on the product side? I mean, you get the opportunity to probably go to a lot of different breweries and see what they're working on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Anything that's really caught your eye or caught your attention?
I've seen a lot more brute IPAs recently.
We've heard a little bit about that over the last couple days.
Yeah, so I mean, using champagne yeast in the beers it really has a different feel to it. You know what I mean? So I've seen a lot of that. Of course, there's still I'd say that Canada's a bit further behind, than down here, because they're still kind of going through a hazy feel. You know what I mean? To IPAs and stuff like that. Sours, though. I mean, we're canning a lot of sours nowadays. Yeah.
And they hold up in cans.
They can, yeah. I mean, there's some specific things you have to do to make sure that it is good, but yeah, they do hold up in cans. Yep.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for taking some time to join us on the live stream. I see everybody moving from the Tap Talk stage over there and starting to make their way this way. So I think that means Tap Talks on stage 1 is going to be starting soon. But we really appreciate you supporting the live stream and all that you do. And thanks for taking some time to chat with me today.
Awesome. You guys have done a great job. Big shout out to you.
And there it is. All right. That was Ryan O'Connor with Cask, one of our sponsors here on the live stream. If you can hear this guy above me, he is calling people to check out the next Tap Talks, which starts in 5 minutes. So that'll be the next thing you see on this stream. We'll see you back after that Tap Talks.